Hello guys, welcome to the brightest station. Today I'm going to be doing a video on reflexive verbs. I didn't post for a while because I really didn't have my phone for quite a while this week. So I didn't get to really post the videos I needed to. But for now we're going to do reflexive verbs for French. So there's going to be a series of reflexives. And of course, they're not like a regular or irregular, so they never change per verb. Even if they're irregular, they never change. So let's take laver, for example, which means to wash oneself. I meant se laver. So it's je me lave, M-E. Tu te laves, T-E. Il et on se lave. S-E. Just remember se, because it's very, very important. Nous lavons is the same for nous and for vous. Vous lavez is going to be the same as well. There's no apostrophe, there's no shortening. So for il se lave, remember it's important because il on and is elles literally have the same reflexive verb conjugation, and it doesn't only apply to ER verbs, also applies to RE and IR verbs, although ER is the most common. Verbs which are always originally reflexive will always have the et auxiliary. So it's like je me suis lavé. But we're going to do auxiliaries in another video, so it gets less complicated. But in essence, all reflexives do not take the avoir auxiliary. They take the être one. But for like s'appeler, it's not really like reflexive because it's not naturally reflexive. For appeler, it's going to be avoir auxiliary because it's not naturally a reflexive verb. So it's very important to recognize which ones are original and which ones just are like variants of it for different definitions of things. For example, dormir is not reflexive because it doesn't have se. But if you really want to change it, then for j'ai vu me laver, that means I want to wash myself. So if you wanted to do I want, I have to, or I must, or I can, or I am able to, then you must use that conjugated part of it. Can't do j'ai vu se laver, because that means I want to wash oneself, which doesn't even make any grammatical sense. You have to use j'ai vu me laver or j'ai vu te laver, depending on what the subject is. So if you're trying to conjugate a reflexive verb and you're trying to use modal verbs like vouloir conjugations, pouvoir and devoir conjugations, just remember that you're going to have to conjugate those verbs based on whatever subject it is. And if you're going to do like se sentir, so I've already said it in the IR video, je me sens, tu te sens, il, elle, on se sent, nous sentons, vous sentez, and il, elle, se sent. So it's going to be obviously, because sentir is irregular, as I mentioned in the previous video, that doesn't mean that the reflexive part is going to be. So reflexive is essentially like referring to yourself. So devoir isn't really going to be reflexive because it doesn't really refer to yourself. But ones like se laver, se lever, and se rendre are obviously going to be referring to yourself. So, for example, se me rendre, me pleuvoir. That makes me cry. So it's really, really important to utilize those reflexive verbs because they are so important in daily life. And the most important thing about it is that they always use the same auxiliary. And it's actually pretty easy to remember. So when I eventually do an auxiliary video based on avoir and être, reflexive verbs are obviously almost always take the être, apart from a few exceptions. So one thing I like about it is that it's regular. And I hope you have fun with reflexive verbs. Be bright, stay right, and enjoy speaking French.